One. What's going on, everybody? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional, alongside my co-host,
Mikey Fever.
and this is a New Yorker's perspective. We have the God, Dr. Alim El-Bey, with us today to build on his history and whatever else we feel like we want to build on. So real quick, thank you for coming out this evening. We really appreciate you, brother, for taking out the time to contribute to our platform, New Yorker's Perspective. Let's start off from the beginning. I don't know I don't know if that's your I don't know if you're doing it on the phone, Dr. Alim, but there's feedback. There's a little feedback.
Yeah, let me probably go. I got a little dance group here. They downstairs. Let me see if I can go in here and if it sounds better for you.
Okay. Richard El-Bey, thank you, Richard El-Bey. Yeah, share it like crazy. We really appreciate that more. Thank you for sharing that, man, and supporting the show from the beginning, brother.
El-Bey, salute.
El-Bey, man. We gotta press that brother palm, man. Sometime we gotta go to Illinois to meet that brother in person. Anyway, let's go into it. Dr. Alim Bey, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from exactly?
I'm from New York. From Williamsburg, Coney Island, Harlem, Rego Park. I've been in 3 out of the 5 boroughs I lived in. So I was born and partly raised in Harlem. Then my parents moved to Brooklyn. So I was in Williamsburg. I was also in Coney Island. Then we moved back to Harlem. And my mom eventually moved to Queens, to Rego Park, LaFrac City area. So she was there until she passed in 2019. And I came down here to North Carolina with my grandmother and ended up going to college, graduating. Went to the ATL for about maybe 4 or 5 years and then came back to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So I've been ever since.
So were you born in Harlem Hospital, or you that kind of Harlem, or?
Not in Harlem Hospital. I was born, I was at the Riverside area, Washington Heights area.
Got you.
Yeah. Then I came back and lived on 129th between 5th and Lenox, or Malcolm X Boulevard as it is now.
Right. Okay. And around what time was this? I don't know if you want to reveal all that, but
yeah. I mean that's where I was born at. So I was conceived in Washington Heights, and then my mom got me like around 3 months and moved me to Williamsburg, and then around 8 years old we moved to Coney Island.
Got you.
And then when I was around 12, moved back to Harlem. And was there until like around maybe 18 years old.
Got you. So you caught all the hip hop culture and all that in the city, right. and now got you. And so being that you were in the city and you caught all that hip hop culture, what intrigued you more? Graffiti, rapping, breakdancing, or DJing?
I was a straight b-boy. I did it all. I still do. I can still pop lock. I can still hip hop, rhyme with the best of them.
You could tell how he orates.
Right. I can still do all of that. Yeah. I can still do graffiti. I've been drawing ever since I was 2 years old. My dad used to sit me on his knee and used to draw Batman, in particular the Batman mobile. And I would copy after him. So I've been drawing ever since I was 2 years old. Matter of fact, I was at Pratt University for a couple of years.
Okay. So you were in Harlem until 18 years old. Now, I would say I'm just making an assumption that you caught wind of the 5% Nation then.
Wow.
You
No
know,
doubt. I was 14. I was 14, and the 11-year-old who looked like she was 18, but she was only 11, she was my best friend at the time. Her name was Lisa. And she said, yo, I'm going to introduce you to my God. And I was like, your God? I'm like, yo, that's a little bit too close and personal for me, yo. You know what you mean? She was like, oh, no, I'm talking about my man. Your man is God? Oh, yeah, yeah, introduce me. Let me see what's going on with that. So that's how I got into the information. And then my cousin a year later, found out he was a 5%er and went over to his, to his house. His mom was cooking some greens with some pork in it and shit. And he was like, oh, nah, yo, we ain't doing that shit right there. Yo, come on, let's go down and get a turkey sub. Let's go to the corner. We ain't need that. And, the year before that, this nigga had Playboy, Penthouse, damn Hustler, and everything underneath his bed. Come back the next year. All that shit gone. He got nothing but Minister Farrakhan, Abdul Khalid Muhammad. He got Malcolm X. All of that under his bed. I said, yo, let me get some of that. And he gave me some of my first cassette tapes of Minister Farrakhan, of Elijah Muhammad, of Malcolm X, and so forth and so on. And I was about, I was 14, 15 years old. But that had to happen because I was reading the autobiography of Malcolm X at the age of 12. And I got into that because my aunt, my godmother's daughter, so my god sister's mother, Peaches, was always telling me, yo, you need to go learn and study about Malcolm X. And I was like, why you keep talking about that? Why, number one, who's this man with his last name X? That's the first thing I wanted to know. The second thing was, why you keep telling me I need to go study this dude? So I listened to it and I went up to the Schomburg library and checked the autobiography out. And I couldn't put it down. For 2 weeks, I just kept reading that book over and over again. And that became my anthem. That book changed my life. And everything that I was learning at that time became more Afrocentric, I guess you could say, for lack of a better terminology, and became more metaphysical, became more historical because of that book. It made me appreciate melanated people much more better.
That's dope. Right. Reading that book, it does change. It does shift. I recommend every young so-called black male should read that book, no matter where you're from. That book is very influential, inspires, instrumental, very most helps you shift your perspective in life to make you realize that you're more than just a black person. You understand?
Right.
Like it's very historical. When you're done with that book, then you go to the message of the black man, and from there, you just go ahead.
And basically, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Right. So now, so what was your background before that? What religion were you? Were you Christian? Is that your family?
Let me break this down because I was non-denominational. Truthfully, OC, you might know him as OC the rapper.
Yeah.
No, Omar. He used to live across the street from me on Harmon Street. That's where I was raised at, in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too far from Marcy Projects and from Bushwick. All right, Broadway. And I used to go over to his house on Saturdays and eat cornflakes and shit. And me and him would be building. We 5, 6, 7 years old and be talking about Islam. Mm-hmm. And so he was the first one to put the signs of Islam in my ear at a tender age of 5 years old. Was Brother OC, Yeah, yeah, 5. You know, and so I give thanks to the God for doing that, because only thing I knew at that time at 5 was what my mom and dad and all of them told me, my grandmother and them, that was Christianity. You know, so he was the first one to give me something that was different. So by, you know, so age 5 to the age 12, just, you know, we talking about just what, 7 years later, you know, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and it clicked. You know, because of that buzz and that seed that he put in my, put in my ear and put in my brain. You know, that seed developed 7 years later, and he wasn't even there, you know, to see the growth in which that happened. The crazy shit is that check this out. Here it is. I haven't seen the guy in 40 years. Realized that he was rapping "Time Is Up." And I was like, "Oh, that looked like Omar." You know what I'm saying? From back in the days. Didn't know for sure. His cousin reached out to me, his first cousin. We used to call him Boo Boo. All right. He reached out to me. We call him Chuck Luck now. He reached out to me. He was like, "Yo, I just talked to your mom and your aunt. He was at this party. They gave me your number. Yo, we've been watching your videos for years. So now they was watching me." You see what I'm saying? So that's the way in which that all of this shit comes back. The ancestors always link you back with fam. You know, and that's what happened.
Right.
You know, so here it is. It was 40 years later. You know, I'm finding out that OC, the one who introduced me to Islam, is now watching my videos with me talking about Islam or going into more metaphysical properties or Sufism or whatever the case is. You know, so I mean, that's the beauty of all of this. This is life. This thing called life is a beautiful thing.
It is.
Yes, sir.
It is.
So now after non-denominational, you meet OC at 5.
Right.
He introduced you to Islam. That sparked you. Now you met your friend. I mean, your best friend,
right?
Who was 11 at the time, had a God.
Right.
He introduced you to the God. Now, did you have an enlightener?
Yeah.
Okay. See Allah.
See Allah.
See Allah.
See Allah was my enlightener, God. He gave me the whole 120. He gave me the whole 120 and told me to take my ass back to North Carolina and distribute that information to the child born, to the gods.
Wow. See Allah. Rest in peace. See Allah. That is some history right there. Man. Okay, so now when you took that information, when you took the 120,
right?
So did he walk you through 120, or did you just kind of like do it on your own? Did you meet other guards? How did that happen? Were you going to Parliament rallies?
I called him. You know, we stayed in contact via phone. You know, I told him that there was guards down there. He said, "Yo, he didn't even know there was guards down there."
Oh wow!
In North Carolina. So that's why he told me, "Yo, take the whole 120 and just, you know, start bombarding the guys with these jewels." And I was like, "All right, I do my part." And so we set up discussions and we set up classes. At that time, I started going to, I graduated and started going to college, and I was going to Federal State University. So I started bombarding military cats, college cats, everybody. And before we knew it, we had probably about maybe 75 brothers and sisters, you know. Then we talking about hundreds and thousands, even more, who came over those years listening to the teachings. And so, you know, we wasn't just teaching on 5% lessons. We taught those. We taught Dr. Malachi York's information, who was known as Imam Misa. At the time, we taught Minister Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, you know, the student enrollment lessons. We just went all in. We taught Dr. Ben Yakinen's Black Man in the of the Nile Valley, Nile family, and we Black Jews, and I mean we was going in, God. We was taking everybody's information, everybody that was part of this phenomenal explosion of information, and was teaching everybody every single bit of information that we possibly could get our hands on that was relevant to our existence. Because up until that point, the late 80s, nobody knew this information from everybody's standpoint.
Okay.
You know?
So I have a question. From studying with the 5%ers, what led you into metaphysics? What started that?
Well, I mean, we look at Justice 10 lesson. It says, what was Muhammad or any Muslim do in order to murder the devil? And then it was talking about there was 4 devils, and I mean that within itself became a metaphysical point that, if you just examine it over and over again, it could have been talking about killing a white person, pale person, or Albion. It had been talking about killing something within yourself. And so, of course, we talking about lust, greed, jealousy, and envy, or lust, greed, jealousy, and hatred. You know what I'm saying? Those became the 4 devils in which that we had to eliminate within ourselves in order to receive the lapel, as they say, on our coat. That lapel, actually, we talking about that button, that third eye, activation on this coat, on this flesh, on this vessel. So we understood that from more of a metaphysical level. And plus, there were certain things that happened to me at a young age that had me to have to go into metaphysics because nobody wanted to talk about it. At 4 years old, my mom was walking me to my first day of nursery school, I guess you can say. All right. And I was crying. I didn't want to leave her, because my first time being away from her, type of thing. And I didn't want to leave her. And she was like, you got to go to school, blah, 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 And as she was talking to me, all of a sudden, I felt all this negative energy, like just bum rush me as I'm crying, like this ethereal energy just folded around me. And I was feeling, so now here I am crying, but I'm also feeling all this negative energy. I'm feeling the racism, the sexism, the murderous thoughts, and all of this other shit. I'm feeling
it's like somebody pulling your stomach. That's how it feels, like somebody's pulling your stomach, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I felt I was an empath. That's what I realized.
Yeah.
And I felt all this negative energy from the environment, and I was like, "Damn, what the hell is this?" As I look back on it now, I'm thinking, "What is this?" Realizing I was an empath and I was feeling all the negative energy that was in the atmosphere, etherically at that time period. Whatever was strangling New York was strangling me at the same damn time, So that was at the age of 4. Then at 5, I began to start seeing ghosts. And these weren't ghosts like you would see on TV. On TV, they always show you some ethereal type of ghosts, coming down in a robe, floating.
Not like that. Yes.
Nah.
It's not like
Nah,
that.
I'm talking about the ghost. I'm talking about a being in which they actually exist, but they exist in a different dimension. And looking at a different dimension, it was like I was looking into a different dimension. And how I knew that was because it was pixelated. It was like white noise. That's how the image of the body was. It was like white noise, and I was able to see that being.
The atoms. It's the atoms that vibrate faster. Yeah, that broke down. Yeah.
Right. And I'm looking at this being, and I'm like saying to myself, hold up, if this being can see me like I'm seeing it, and I'm 5 years old and I'm already thinking like this. If this being is able to see me, because I knew it wasn't a man, even though it was in the shape of a man, I knew it wasn't like somebody broke into the house, So I already understood that. So I'm already calculating, and and my mind is firing off already at a young age, 5 years old, and already distinguishing this is real and the nonsense that I've been seeing on TV for the last 3 years, because my memory only goes back to the age of 2. All right, so from age of 2 to 5, 3 years was good enough for me to know that whatever is going on is something I have not seen before. Now, I've seen the TV at that time when it goes off, because we had TVs that was analog at that time period. So at 2 o'clock, the TV would go off and it go to a noise, to a white noise screen. You see what I'm saying? After they do the United States anthem and shit, the TVs used to go off. They ain't had no remote controls at that time. You know what I mean? I'm talking about, this is 76. All right. 76 is what I'm talking about, because I was born in 69. So this being came crossing from out of the kitchen, across my threshold of my bedroom, going into the living room. And I'm saying to myself, if I can see it and it can see me, and if it's turned its head towards me like it can see me, I'm yelling for my mom and dad. So as it came across the threshold, it turned its head to see me. Now, I probably wouldn't have freaked out if it just would have kept on going. You know what I'm saying? I would have chalked it up like, okay, all right, I was able to see whatever's going on. It wasn't able to see me, blah, blah, blah. But nah, the head turned towards me. The body of the shape of this being, once again, was white noise. It was pixelated. All right. And it turned towards me. And I said, Ma, Dad, Ma, Dad. My dad came running in the bedroom and he was like, what's going on? What's wrong? I said, there was a man. I didn't mean a man. I was talking about a man. And, this image was in the shape of a man, but it wasn't a man. So he was like checking the doors, the windows and everything, making sure everything was all right. And I was like, nah, it wasn't that type of man. He was like, oh, you must have ate too late. You must have ate the wrong combination of food. And
they chalk it up to that.
Right. This is what he was telling me. And I was like, nah, I was wide awake. Wide awake. I was woke. You know what I'm saying? I was doing things of a 5-year-old. I'm looking out the window at the moon, counting the stars. You know what I'm saying? Playing with my toes and, just shit 5-year-old do. And this happened. You know what I'm saying? So, he chalked it up like it was just some bad shit I ate. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. But then when I was 9 years old, I seen a UFO hover over top of my head. I was living in Coney Island at the time. And the UFO hovered over my head to the right side of me, only about 100 yards to 150 yards up above my head. So it was relatively close. And I'm going back from the store, going back to the apartment building where we used to live at. And this is what happened. So at that time, I said, all right, I done seen ghosts, I done seen UFOs. Let me find out what the hell is going on planet Earth. So I asked my mom to get me the Time Life magazine books. And she got me the Time Life magazine books and started getting those every single month. I still got the Time Life magazine books to this day that she got me then. Okay. That shit was in 78. All right. So we're talking about 1978. I started reading books on metaphysics. That's what these Time Life magazine books were about. Lost continents. So I started reading about Hyperborea, Mu, Atlantis, etc. I started reading about Shambhala, Akhenaten.
Shambhala.
All of this was in these books. Underground, in the world, caverns and cities, and so I started reading all this information in these books. Didn't even know where it was heading to. But the ancestors seen that you're 9 years old, you need to learn all of this information, obviously. I don't even know where it was going to lead to. Like I said, 3 years later, I'm reading autobiography of Malcolm X. You know, 2 years later, studying the 5%. A year later, Minister Farrakhan. By 19, studying Dr. Malachi York, known at that time as Imam Isa. So I was dealing with the Ancestral Allah, Nubian Islamic Hebrews. You know, but at the same time,
you were living with them. You said
I was studying. Yeah. Well, I was in college. So Dr. York, Imam Isa told me to stay my ass in college.
Gotcha. Oh, wow.
But
you got a chance to meet him. Wow.
Yeah. But we had a group that was there. You know, it was us and it was some brothers and some sisters, and we had a group. We was called UFP, Unity for Prosperity. And one of our teachers at Federal State University actually is the one who put that together for us, and we just took it and ran with it on campus and off campus. And matter of fact, the next city up from Fayetteville, which is Spring Lake, actually took our motto, Unity for Prosperity, and they utilized that to this day. That was the motto for the city. But that came from us because for us down from Federal State University, and for us making the move throughout Spring Lake, throughout Fayetteville, throughout Greensboro, throughout Sanford, Raleigh, Durham, we was all over the place getting information out. We was banging on them, you know. So we just didn't stay, on the computer. See what I'm saying? We travel. We got the word out for real. We was doing our what they call it, our Mormon / Jehovah Witness thing. And we was doing it better than them because we used to get in debates with them and tear the behinds up easy. You know, utilizing the lessons, utilizing student enrollment, utilizing what we got from Dr. York, Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, Shikant Diop, everybody. We utilized it and whooped everybody behind with their information. No matter where they came from, we had an answer for them. You from the Bible? Oh, that's fine. We got you on that. You know, because we also study Ben Amin Israel.
I remember that, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. We also got with Yahweh Ben Yahweh teachings. You know, so no matter what, we had the answer for you coming from any of the brothers' teachings, because we didn't at that time period there was no separation of information. I'm sorry, in the 80s that was not how that shit went. That's how that is now. You know what I'm saying? In the 80s, in the 90s, we brought all the information together. We never separated the information. We never played that. We didn't play that. You know. All the information, if it made sense and it was coherent, we used it.
That's
and we told you who we got it from. No problem. You know. Now, go ahead.
So now I want to take it to North Carolina. You went to school, created this group. You had all the information. Now, what got you into Moorish science? Now,
well, actually, that was during the same time. In 1988, 89, there was brothers who was coming from Lumberton, North Carolina, who was part of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So that was our first inkling of coming into the Moorish information. And plus, Dr. York put out a book, Who is Noble Drew Ali? And from that book, and then from, them being appreciative of Dr. York putting that book out, they started coming to the classes. So we had 5%ers in the classes. We had Sunni Muslims in the classes. We had Shiite Muslims in the classes. We had Nation of Islam members in the classes. We had brothers who was, red, black, and green, who just did their own research, with the, Dr. Ben John, Dr. John Henry Clark and others. They was in the classes. So all of us used to come to the classes. All right. The Moral Science Temple brothers used to come to the classes. So nobody discriminated against each other for the knowledge or the path in which that they took to themselves at that time. There was no debate. There was just all of us wanting to know more information. That's how it was. and how to sync all this information together, because all of us knew that there was a silver lining, between all the teachings, that there was somebody or connecting points between all the teachers, and we wanted to know where was it, where did it come from, how did everybody know each other, and so that's what we was looking for. We was looking for unification. We wasn't looking for debating. That's some shit that came later on with Sinetta, doing his thing with the debates, and they still love to hammer that shit out now. But and I can talk about it because actually I was the first one to do one of Sinetta's debates, and that was me debating Sarah Sutton Seti. But if you notice the debate between me and him, that was casual, casual. We gave each other dap and smiled and hugged each other, and that's how it used to be. There was no real debate. It was just getting the information out and letting the people decide, okay, what's what. You know what I'm saying?
That speaks to you. Knowledge is universal. That's why I never understood that concept. Like I always say, each group could learn from one another because information is out there, and nothing is like what could be debated as the truth could be false tomorrow because with information it evolves.
Exactly. God.
Right.
And that's exactly what's going on now. There's more information that's coming out about the so-called new world actually being the old world. And there's pyramids, and there's pyramids here in which that have, that's been here for hundreds and thousands of years, longer than the pyramids on the Giza Plateau. So, I mean, these are things which are coming out now, and we have to acknowledge it. We can't just be stuck in our ways. Oh, no, Dr. Ben said. Oh, no, John Henry Clark said. No, we got to look at all of the information. Them brothers have passed form, and they did their job. They did what they did. You know what I'm saying? Fantastic work. But we now need to step it up and see how much of this shit is true, what's what, and we need to rewrite history.
Be peer review, you know what I'm saying? Because some people get caught up in the whole Afrocentric thing where they will disregard European authors. I know that comes with a stigma, but you got to study everyone. Everyone has, their view. Right. We just trying to figure out the pieces. We just putting the pieces together, just trying to find the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Exactly. So I want to go into. Pardon me. I don't mean to put y'all up, but I want to go into now. Moorish science. Moors started going to the group you were a part of. And then, so what made you decide to not go into the temple per se?
Well, these brothers were from the temple. So my first inkling of moral science information was from them, in 88 and 89.
No, as far as becoming a member.
Right. Okay. Well, actually, I did join the temple, and that was in 2000. All right. My name was Baruch L when I joined, which means the angel of light. All right. And I joined Kirkman Bay's group at that time from out of Washington, D.C.
Okay. Right.
And
then, so what was the path after that? Was it so because then I don't know if you created the thing pardon me.
No, I didn't create it.
What, you didn't create it?
No, my teacher was known as Prince Ramesses Abel Bey. And he became the crown prince of the Empire Washitaw Dugdahmoundyah in 1999 at the behest of the Empress Vidyasi Tierra Washitaw Tunica Gaston El-Bey. And that was in 1999 on June 7th, his birthday, his born day. All right. Which was just a week and a half ago, alayhi salam upon him, in which that she gave him the title Crown Prince, in which that made him the Crown Prince of the Empire Washitaw. So what happened, see, this once again is phenomenal, the way the ancestors always spin everything right back around. Because I ended up doing a DNA test and found out that Prophet Noble Ali was my first cousin 4 times removed. Removed just means that I'm 4 generations away from him as far as, but if I was 4 generations back, I would be his first cousin. All right. So he's my first cousin 4 times removed. Now, that was phenomenal because Prince Bey picked up energy from me back in the mid-90s and said, yo, you need to put Prince on your name. And I was like, Prince? I don't know. That's, that might be a little bit too much right there. I wasn't ready for that, because at that time I was more metaphysical than I was into the Moorish teachings. But he was a straight Moor. He came from the temple. He was in temple. He was in Temple 21 there in Atlanta, Georgia, at the time period. Matter of fact, he was the secretary of the Moorish Science Temple. So I was being groomed and trained by a Moorish Science Temple member, but he was also the prince of the Empire Washitaw Dugdahmoundyah, which was an indigenous Aboriginal group, or society, nation, the empire, in which that, he felt like, he always would tell me, he said, every time he would go down to Louisiana to see the Empress, he always would say, yo, you need to come on down, see the Empress, blah, blah, blah. Not even knowing that she's my second cousin. We're talking about biology.
That's the universe working, man.
Universe. She's my second cousin, 3 times removed. Her son Joe is my first cousin, 2 times removed. The present Empress, which is Empress Wendy Washitaw, is my first cousin, 1 time removed.
Yeah, your collective is there, man.
Well, real quick before we continue, thanks to Awareness Daily. Thank you for the super chat, Awareness Daily. We really appreciate you, man. You've been rocking with us from the start, right, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. We owe you a hat, brother. We got you, man. It's gonna be autographed, man.
Back to what you were saying. Your lineage. Pardon me, brother.
No, that's fine. So, took a DNA test, Ancestry.com. Took that DNA test. Started, finding out, my people, and my great grandfather was Frederick Drew. His brother was John Drew, who was the father of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Oh, wow.
So come to find out, so that's how I'm his first cousin, 4 times removed.
I have a question, right? This is a left field question. I asked a few more. Is that, do we know if Noble Drew Ali having any descendants, any children, offspring? Is that something that's hidden, or
children? Not necessarily the children, even though I've heard, but it was a rumor. I can't verify.
Yeah, I can't confirm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what I can verify is the fact that I am from his bloodline. I'm his first cousin 4 times removed. That's what I can verify. But that's all I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? Even though I've heard there was rumors of him having children, but I know that Pearl Ali didn't have any children by him, and Mary Foreman Ali did not have any children by him. So the 2 wives in which that they speak of did not have children by him.
Okay.
So if it did happen, it had to have come prior to him forming the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the Moorish Holy Temple of Science of the world, of Moorish Holy Temple.
All right. Did you ever come across the teachings of C.M. Bey?
Of course.
I'm
gonna shock you a little bit more, guy. You're gonna find out that C.M. Bey, Charles Mosley Bey, is the first cousin of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, these are things that only DNA can show you.
Wow.
See, my great grandfather, Frederick Drew, or my 3rd grandfather, Frederick Drew, son, was married to Lucy Mosley. All right. Lucy Mosley, sister. Well, I should say her husband, Charles Mosley Sr. had Charles Mosley Jr., and Charles Mosley Jr. is C.M. Bey.
Wow.
Got you.
I gotta rewind this and watch this.
Yeah, it's a lot of information.
Now I want to go into
Look, I'm not even finished because Elijah Muhammad came from the Pole family, in which that is also in the bloodline. So we talking about C.M. Bey, we talking about Noble Drew Ali, we talking about Elijah Muhammad. All right, all of them were related.
Whoa.
You know that's gonna come with a lot of you though. That's deep.
That's good. I don't know.
People come with a lot of scrutiny.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm gonna go into once. Yeah. Raphael the Moor, huh? He said, huh? Yeah, I've never heard that. Now,
because nobody done the DNA in order to prove it except for me. And that's why I'm able to tell you. And if you want, we can do a next episode and I'll show you the DNA connections with no problem.
Yeah, we got to do that one. We got to do that one right there.
Oh yeah, we got to do that one.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna find more interesting connections when I break it down.
Now after becoming a part of the Washitaw Dugdahmoundyah family or nation,
right?
What was your mission after that? Like after becoming a part of that, did you get any kind of status or anything like that in that nation, or you know what was your mission after that?
Well, Prince Bey, who was known as Crown Prince Hutan Tupac Bey, formerly known as Prince Ramesses Abel Bey, he passed physical form 20 years ago, January the 12th, 2004. All right. He passed in my wife's arms.
Wow.
Now, what happened is that I was asked soon after to be the crown prince, to sit in his seat of United Washitaw Dugdahmoundyah, and that's what I did.
And how long did you hold that seat?
I'm still holding it to this very day.
Oh wow.
That's peace. To add on to what Brother Ron was saying, you say status, right? Did you go, a lot of Moors tend to talk about the status change and all that stuff. Do you guys function in that?
Yeah, you have to do status correction. You have to do nationality and status correction. That is the least of what you should be doing, because nationality is the call of the day, and it always has and always will be. And what I mean by nationality, I'm talking about according to the 10 maxims of law. For your truth to be expressed, it must be expressed in the form of an affidavit. If you have not expressed your truth in the form of an affidavit, then you have no truth, and thus you're not a Moor. So it must be put on the public record so that it can be shown forth before the world that you are who you state that you are. Just like they did with you with that fake ass birth certificate. They put that on the New York Stock Exchange and sold that shit to companies in which that exists around the world. So you must have your documents on record. Also, you must have it, what is known in the civil filing section of Superior Court. It must be, we say filed, that's what it says on the document, but it is registered. You must have an R number, and it must be put on the public record. Yes.
Because there tend to be a lot of back and forth with, some Moors say that's a legit thing. Some say that's a farce, because it's not recognized by the American government. Because I've seen videos where Moors trying to exercise that.
Think about this, guy. All right, so if I go to the temple and I become a Moor in the temple, all they're gonna give me is a flimsy little paper card. All right. Okay. Now I can only use that card in the temple because they say Prophet Drew Ali said, "Don't flash that card." Right? Don't flash that card outside of the temple.
Yeah.
So only place that I have status at is in the temple. And then most of the temples are under a 501c3, which is a state corporation.
Now here's the thing. We discussed this with Brother Sharif Bey before. And he has some interesting things to say about that. I don't know if you ever check out those videos.
No, because I have my own teachings on that.
Okay.
Right.
Now,
and from my own teaching guide, you know what I'm saying? 501c3s are incorporated in the state. For you to be recognized as a true or free church or temple or mosque or synagogue, a free, then it must be under a 508c1a, not a 501c3. And this is the problem that I have with those who say that they're part of the temple. Well, what is the temple structure? Is it structured as a 508c1a or is it structured as a 501c3?
For me, that's not as important as what are the temples doing as far as like movement is concerned. Like, what are they doing in the community? What are they, as far as upliftment, are they building any businesses and things of that nature? That's more important.
Well, that might be the case, but we got to look at structure. If we're looking at proper status and if we're looking at nationality, then it has to be structured properly. It can't be structured on a false, on a fallacy. It has to be structured on the truth. Prophet Ali, when he put his information, he utilized on the Cook County record, he used the 805, right, of Illinois. Right? The 805 of Illinois. Now we look at that. Now the reverse of an 805 would be a 508. All right. It's not a 501c3. The 508, if you look at it and read the IRC, which is the Internal Revenue Code, it states specifically that a 508 operates as a free church, which automatically have what we refer to as, quote unquote, automatically has tax exemption. So it automatically has tax exemption. Now, a 501c3 has to petition for tax exemption. And 501c3s are, quote unquote, non-political. They can't get political. So this is why those who are non-political have so much to say about the so-called UCC Moors, or Moors who want to go into commerce and understand the science of commerce, which is still law. They want to deal with civics. They want to deal with law. But you can't do that as a 501c3 because that is restricted. That is limited. Because 501c3s cannot deal politically. This is part of their information when it comes to, okay, this part of their information.
Right. Now, I want to interject real quick. Pardon me, God. Now, let's take a look at this, right? Let's say you have an organization that's 501c3 and an organization that is, what did you mention?
508c1a.
508c1a. Let's say you have two organizations. This is hypothetically speaking. You have two organizations like this, right? The organization that's 501c3 are making moves in the community and are basically giving the community tangibles for them to live off of and prosper in life. And then you have the other organization, which is in the proper standing, if you will, quote unquote. However, they're not doing anything in the community. Which one would be more effective for the people?
That's a good question. Go on.
I mean, of course, the 501c3 would look as if it's more effective, but it still is based on a lie. It's based on limitations. It's based on something in which that can't really essentially give the people what they need because they're restricted politically. See, understand this, is that there's 9 tentacles of the Illuminati, as they refer to it as, all right? The Illuminati is nothing more than people who try to restrict the so-called masses while they take all the restrictions off themselves, but they try to put restrictions on the people. When we deal with political realm, the political realm, that is a realm in which that they have their tentacles in. They have their tentacles in politics. All right. So we talking about sex, politics, education. We talking about entertainment, labor, law. We're talking about health. We're talking about land. We're talking about 9 different levels of which Frances Quest Welsing speaks on in her book, ISIS paper. Nearly Fuller speaks on his confrontation of racism. They both have already said about the 9 tentacles in which that is controlled by the Albion or the Illuminati. And the problem is this, is that we're looking at politics as one of them. So if you're in a organization which limits you in any of those 9 fields, then it's something in which that is not beneficial for the masses of our people.
I understand that. I understand your point. However, one thing as a person who's a metaphysician, if you will, right, for yourself, right, you know this, right? Nothing can limit the mind. So, regardless to corporation status, etc., if you're feeding the people the proper information and things that they need to grow and prosper, it really doesn't matter. That's my opinion.
Well, that might be the case, brother, but I've been able to have houses, lands, cars, stores, businesses, all under my 508c1a with no restriction. This is why I can talk freely as I do.
So, I think the next episode we should talk about what's the difference in the amenities, if you will, for each organization. I mean, or setup, if you will, or foundation. So maybe we can talk about that on the next one.
I want to add one thing too, part of Ron, to show and prove. Because the thing is, I hear what you're saying, Alim, 100%. I hear what you're saying. The difference is, but the thing is that a lot of people have been conned. You know what I'm saying? When they see like brothers who come on there and talk about, selling them paperwork, how to get the status done. Yeah. They see that they haven't received any tangibles. We've seen videos of brothers who wearing feathers on their head. They be talking all this quote stuff, and the cops still give them a right hook. You know what I'm saying? Throw a cuff on them. And, I understand what Brother Ron is saying, because, we have all these movement school of thoughts, and yet our people with all this information are still in that same position. Like, what can be done to get them out of this abyss, take them to the next level,
Right. Well, it's funny that you said that, because I just did a video the night before last where I speak on that. Why are we in the same damn condition that we've been in? Why are we still in the same damn condition? So I just did a video on that the other day, explaining the reason why and the differences between the 501c3 and the 508c1a, as well as also between a religious organization and a nationality organization, or as well as also just showing how to move, because you don't have to. The problem is that we seen Moors banged on, you know what I'm saying? Of course. I mean, but think about it. I mean, do you really think that they don't have a problem with you saying that you Negro, Black, or colored, or African American? Have no problem with that at all. If you took your documents and you put it on the public record and you were saying that you was a good Negro, or you was a good Black, or good whatever the case was, they wouldn't have no problem with that. They wouldn't put you on no quote unquote sovereign citizen movement registration or consideration as such. But when you say that you are more, then that's the problem, because they know Moors historically is like what Dr. John Henry Clark told us. He said your nationality must connect you instantaneously to land, culture, and history.
That's a fact. He did say that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Now, why did he say that? Because when I look up the word land, I see the word Moors embedded inside the definition. You can't get more instantaneous than that. So that means that land and Moors are synonymous. They are the same thing. Now, the problem is this, is that according to the maxims of law, it states that your truth must be expressed in the form of an affidavit. So are you saying psychologically that you're just a Moor and they thinking European wise? Oh, well, you talking about the Moors from over in Spain and Portugal and who ruled Europe for 800 years. You ain't talking about no Moors here. But yeah, hold up. I'm looking at the CDC website, and on their listing, they say Moors. right under Lenape, right in between Nanocoat. These are so-called Native Americans, but they're called Moors. They're known as the Delaware Moors. So hold up. Show me the connection between the Moors from Spain and all of a sudden these Moors that you're talking about that's Native American, that's Lenni Lenape or Nanocoat, or who you refer to as the Delaware Moors. How did they become named Moors? What was the title that how did they earn that title of Moors? You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff in which that is not being connected. All right. And only thing I'm saying is that we can connect these pieces. We have to connect these pieces. Okay. So when I look at the title Moor embedded inside of land, then it automatically ties me back to land, history, and culture. And that land can be in Africa, it can be in Asia, it can be right here in America.
Yep.
Because in all three places, we have the term Moor that existed on all three of these continents. And then it says history. All right, so that's easy to prove. The Lenni Lenape, they be talking about Maryland, we talking about Delaware, we talking about Pennsylvania, we talking about New York, we talking about New Jersey. All of these areas, that's where the Lenni Lenape dwelled. Then we talking about land, history, and culture. What is the culture? You know, so these are the things that we have to understand. You know, matter of fact, somebody said Lenape are from a town called Moortown. All right, yeah, because they still refer to themselves to this day as Moors. So we just have to go back and do more research and put these pieces of this puzzle together. I don't think it was a coincidence that the first place that Prophet Noble Ali left from out of North Carolina, Virginia area and went into New Jersey, which is one of the hubs of the Lenni Lenape.
We definitely got to bring you back on. We got to bring you back, man, to bring on that.
Yeah, we're about to wrap it up because this is our podcast.
Okay.
However, we gotta bring you back on. There's so much to talk about.
Much, man.
This to herbs to everything.
I'm definitely gonna hit you up, God. We gotta build more, man. Because like I said, it was to honor you. We appreciate all the contribution you have done to the conscious community, the information that you're doing. You continue striving to bring people, herbs and teach them about their history and health and take them to metaphysical realms and all that. And that's peace, man. And that's I give you a round of applause for that, man.
Shop out there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's peace, man.
That's peace. Thank you for coming up, brother, Dr. Alim El-Bey. We will continue to talk. We'll build. And see you on the next episode.
No doubt.
Peace.
Salute. Peace, guys.